I don't know what this is, but it's kind of hot.
Hey guys, deformed Lisa Simpson here.
Just play the final boss and watch the little deformed.
And one of my favorite genre of video on this wonderful website are review videos. From AVGN to Rebel Taxi, all the way to new reviewers like RoboBuddies. I find a great deal of enjoyment in hearing people voice their opinions on a game, movie, or TV show. In fact, one of my favorite YouTube channels is a review channel. However, I do feel that there are some fatal tropes that a lot of these reviewers fall victim to, and I'm gonna count down all 5 of them. Now, there's a special bond between viewers and YouTubers. I can honestly never voice how grateful I am that you guys watch my content regularly. I feel like we're close. Like friends.
Only closer.
However, there does come a point when people may over-exaggerate how grateful they can be for their fans. Some reviewers have this really stupid reason for reviewing a game, claiming, I wouldn't do this normally, but I'm doing it cause I love you guys. Like, that's nice. I realize the gesture, but that's a really corny way of wording it. Why not just put it into a poem while you're at it? Roses are red, violets are blue. I don't want to watch it, but I'm gonna review it for you. Overall, it's a really corny validation for reviewing a piece of media. But it does come from a good place, so it's not such a horrible offense. Speaking of corny and cringeworthy things, I find a great deal of cheesiness when I watch a review that has an odd sort of story going on for it, and the reviewer is playing a role of both themselves and multiple other characters. I find it okay if a reviewer portrays 2 or 3 characters. 4 is kinda pushing it, and if the reviewer begins portraying 5 or more characters in the same continuity, then I can no longer suspend my disbelief. And I begin to find the story extremely corny. The worst offenders of this are the Nostalgia Critic and Movie Bob. Literally, for a while, Movie Bob portrayed every single character that appeared in his show. And with Nostalgia Critic, he currently really only has 3 regular actors that he can depend on, and they all play multiple characters. There comes a point when I simply can't take whatever message the story is trying to push, and I begin to find it more comical than anything else. I mean, does Doug really not have any other actors? None at all? Maybe if you gave them water, maybe they'd want to act for him again, but, just saying. Okay, one thing I dislike a great deal of YouTubers for is they have an aura about them that seems fake. Like, they have fake enthusiasm. And while this doesn't count for when the reviewer is portraying some sort of character, it does go for when a reviewer is portraying and talking for themselves. It especially comes off as weird when they actually are reviewing their piece of media. I much prefer a person who is more grounded rather than a character who's more consistently happy or consistently angry. Like, none of these reviewers actually act this way in real life, and you know it. And before you say, Ahem, well, Ravenstein, you also do the same thing, haha. I retort by saying, I don't really. Honestly, how I speak on YouTube and how I word my sentences is honestly how I speak in person. Of course, when I ad-lib, I do a lot of ums and ohs and I sound less well-spoken, but that's because I have to think about what to say before I actually say it. On this YouTube show, I have the liberty of writing down everything I'm going to say down so that I can have a clear path of what I want to say. But I don't know how to end it here, so, boom. Comic relief characters are often implemented in media to serve as a character deliberately used only for cheap laughs and rarely anything else. Characters like these are often a double-edged sword, as a good comic relief is a fan favorite character, whilst a bad one can easily turn into the worst character on the show, or movie, or what have you. And these blunders are performed by professionals in the industry. So when an unexperienced YouTuber tries to apply the same practice to their own content, the result can often be catastrophic. But it still isn't a good idea when a YouTuber puts in a comic relief sidekick, because you know they'll screw it up. You just know they'll screw it up. There's a small margin for success in that realm. The only good comic relief character I've seen is Goofball from Brain Dump. Hey, you guys think when Max G says he has to go to the bathroom, he says he has to take a brain dump? Goofball often is a character that exists only to prod Max, and to provide some self-deprecation jokes. Well, about Max, because, you know, he writes it, you know, which I feel has been done much better than when a YouTuber goes, Hey, I hate myself. Isn't that funny? Not to mention, Goofball appears halfway to around the last third of an episode, and he doesn't interrupt when Max is talking too much. So you aren't bombarded with too much of his shenanigans, and it doesn't interrupt the actual reviewing portion. But as bad annoying sidekick characters can be, they don't even compare to number 1. There is simply nothing more irritating and pace-dragging than a lame, contrived, forced story into a review. Many reviewers will put in a story into their reviews to try to provide a reason for the viewer to care about something in the video. And this can possibly work. I think when JonTron does it, it can be quite funny and creative. However, when you screw it up, which is quite easy to do, you will make your video drag at a snail's pace. Reviewers like Cat Icarus and Nostalgia Critic often include a story into their reviews. Sometimes it can work. For instance, Some Call Me Johnny's review of Sonic R and Sonic Genesis revolve around the Tails doll possessing a Sonic cat and attacking Johnny and his brother Elliot. However, when the story sucks, it can literally break the pace of a review. Cat Icarus's Bubsy 3D review, for instance, was so lengthy because of its story and how it often wasn't focused, and it was ironically one of the lesser memorable videos. And JonTron's Home Alone Games review video had a really stupid story about Jacques being captured and Macaulay Culkin and nuts, and the ending was such an ass pull it hurts. As much as I love these reviewers, I simply cannot stand for such a terrible tacked on story that completely breaks the pace. But yeah, I mean, why don't you guys tell me what you guys dislike in reviews in the comments below. I always love to hear you guys' thoughts. And now I'm gonna lay in my bed and contemplate life, so see ya.